Okay, here it is. This is the open French drain with the river rock. Talking to the customer about looking into a dry river bed look for his finished patio area back here, which is what we were working on, prepping somewhat. The main deal was trying to drop the basement. So here's our grading of clay sand. It goes all the way to the end of the house there. And notice the lack of gutters. That is the main problem. We got water that comes down here, and then these guys. Yeah, they don't look healthy now. The hostas took a hit, but they should. That's their fault. All this vegetation, all this mulch, it was what it was like all the way around the perimeter of the house. We dug all this back. This is the garage slab. This side doesn't really matter for grading, but all that mulch is retaining that moisture that comes off of that roof and just goes down right there. It was negative grade to the house. So rather than just treat the symptom, we try to go after the cause. And so the customer is going to be putting gutters on along the house part over there with one drop. You can see down back there, one drop into solid pipe. Second pipe here is going to take the gutter that comes off the back side of the garage here. It's going to come down here. And this solid pipe runs through this catch basin. This will be brought up to level with the hardscaping that's finally going to happen here in the backyard as the next phase. When the stones go down, get compacted, and then patio blocks and a fireplace and all the outdoor stone hardscape look is going to happen back here. So the pipe comes down through the catch basin and runs solid over here where it meets up with the end of our dry riverbed rocks, which are perf all the way back up along the wall to catch any seasonal runoff that may be happening here and coming across and getting to the basement. I don't think this is the biggest problem, but this is great insurance. We have an 18-inch curtain drain or open French drain catching this seasonal water. Heavy rainfall would come off. This yard had a nice slope to begin with down this way, so we had a pretty good solid 18-inch deep to follow, which we did with a trencher. And then it joins up with the solid pipe, becomes solid the rest of the way here. We still have the cleanup to do on this side for the yard, but we took up the sod where the red line is. Those sod plugs came out and then they went back in, and we're going to clean up the dirt here. It terminates here in our pop-up emitter. So what's going to happen here is water that comes down this slope, and it's a pretty good one. It's going to come down and force this up, where water's going to bubble out here and just go harmlessly the rest of the way to this marshy area. So what we've got here too is a dry well underneath this, and so it's a bag of stones that's wrapped around underneath the elbow, and the elbow's perforated, so water that comes down the solid pipe doesn't set in there. It drains out into a dry well, which we have stone filled in a deeper area here. The solid pipe actually terminated back here about 4 feet, and the last 4 feet being perforated with the fabric sock on it, wrapped around, and then setting on stone bed so that the water that comes down here doesn't get trapped in the elbow, freeze in the winter, slow down flow, start collecting junk, and maybe someday plug. But right now we've got a great slope that comes down here. Forgot to mention we have another intersecting gutter from the front of the garage, and it comes down over there and comes down this trench. Solid into a Y on down to the pop-up emitter. So we have up here is also another catch basin. Got real muddy, it's gonna start to rain. We have another catch basin right here. Same thing. And just unscrew the screws. Reach down in there. There's a basket that's going to be catching leaves or big things that might come down your chute if they don't plug it. It's going to come in here for you to get out. Also would serve as a clean out if unfortunate event of a plugging, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've got great slope here. We're going to have lots of flow all the way down to the pop-up emitter. But that catch basin's there for insurance of that, and also to catch the gravel off of the roof. It'll settle in the bottom of that down in there. You just pull that basket out every, well, I think they say 5 years. 5 years, and take the gravel out of it, depending on the depth of the basin, I suppose. Take the gravel out. Any leaves that become a problem you can take out right there. This side, again, we're just going to fill this in with some sandy loam, and then we're going to put the mulch back on top of it. But once we have a grade away from the house, that would be fine. No problems there. So over on this side too, they had the same issue with all kinds of mulch, and it was daffodils on this side. There's some survivors now. They'll come back up through this, but that's okay. This is the clay sand, and it's been graded away from this foundation now, so that any water will run off here and through these rocks and out to the front. Yeah, I believe the customer plans on removing these rocks as well, so that there is no other barrier there. But don't believe that this was really the problem. This is not the drain, the drip edge of the house. This is the gable end, so we're not going to be getting all the runoff that I believe was the biggest problem. That's out back. So that one's all graded, packed down, tamped down. Fix a couple of holes. And here's the back side. Now here was the problem that we ran into and didn't realize when we were scoping the job out, was that these hostas here actually were causing a dam. So this was, let's see if I can get you on the level here of the plumb. You can see we're sloped down away from the house foundation that way, and then down into kind of a swale area that I tied this last minute ditch design into. Dug a ditch that goes down here, then around the outside of our end of our project, and ties into the curtain drain in the back. So not ties in, just the water would run into it through the fabric and the stones that are there. So I just dug this ditch, and hopefully the pitch there of that tiny swale will keep the water coming away from this house. You can see where the drip edge was. It's right across everything right there with no gutter. So it's coming right there. A lot of infiltration we saw in the basement through the side, around the side of this, because of the same thing. Mulch holding moisture, conveying it right in and down the foundation, weeping through the walls, condensation forming, water running from that as well. But we did the same thing with the clay sand, packed it around and made water to run off away from that basement door opening. There again is the grading on the back of the clay sand. Now this area here is going to be leveled off somewhat with the next phase of the project, which is to bring in some hard pack and grade it, compact it, and then a stone worker is going to come in and build on top of that so that we had the patio area right out here. It's going to be really nice. This is a great looking property. Wonderful project. Great customers. A lot of good learning. A lot of hard work. Took twice as long as I thought it would. I ran into a couple of problems. Big rock right here somewhere that we couldn't move. And then this last minute ditch here today on finish day to put that in. So we run into any other delays. The decking was here. We had to move part of that to start the ditching process, and with the mini track loader in here, but that wasn't too bad. We moved part of it out of the way. The customer came out the next day and moved it all off to the side here, and then he moved all that off into the front driveway. So that's awesome. Big pile out there. It's going away. Old deck out, new patio, hardscape in. Awesome project. The gutter system is compromised already because it's dripping. Right out of there, that joint. Either it's backed up here somewhere, which I don't know, maybe right there at the corner. Should take that apart, check it out, make sure the gutter's clear so that it goes down in there instead of out there.